There's a moment so subtle most people miss it that instantly separates a guest from a gentle person, a visitor from an insider, and new money from families who have carried influence for generations. It happens not when they speak, not when they walk into the room, but the second they cross a threshold. Old money never arrives empty-handed, ever. And the reason behind this quiet ritual reveals more about power, upbringing, and generational sophistication than any trust fund or family crest ever could. If you're fascinated by the hidden habits of the world's most discreetly powerful families, subscribe to the channel. You'll learn the customs that build respect, open doors, and elevate your presence no matter where you're starting from. Now let's step into a world where a simple gesture carries centuries of meaning. The rule that isn't written anywhere. Old money families don't talk about etiquette, they live it. This is why their traditions look effortless. A child grows up watching their parents and grandparents honor hosts, acknowledge effort, and show presence through thoughtful gestures. No one lectures them. No one hands them a written rulebook. It's absorbed through daily life. From the outside, people assume old money brings gifts out of politeness. But the truth? It's far more strategic. A small offering is a message. I respect your time, your home, and the honor of being invited into your world. It isn't about price, luxury labels, or showing off. In fact, flashy gifts are considered gauche. The real sophistication is found in subtlety, where this tradition began. Historically, arriving empty-handed wasn't just rude. It signaled that you were socially unaware. In aristocratic Europe, visiting someone's estate meant acknowledging the cost and preparation required to host guests. Homes weren't just homes, they were estates with staff, meals, linens, and a choreographed effort happening behind the scenes. So families created a culture of reciprocity. You bring something small to honor the household. The host gives their hospitality in return. Over generations, this became a code, a quiet handshake among the elite. And even today, in Park Avenue apartments, country homes in Connecticut, and stone manors in the Cotswolds, the rule remains the same. Old money enters with gratitude, not expectation. The gift is never random. Here's where the real story begins. Because old money doesn't just grab a bottle of wine from the nearest store or pick something generic from the host gifts aisle. What they bring is intentional, personal, and loaded with subtle meaning. It depends on the host's tastes, the nature of the gathering, the time of year, the depth of the relationship, and sometimes family history. You'll never see them show up with over-the-top bouquets, branded gift bags, or anything that screams, "Look what I bought." Their choices: whisper, not shout. Let's go deeper. The philosophy behind the gesture. Old money thinks generationally. This means every action, especially social ones, is part of a long game. A well-chosen offering does three things. 1. It strengthens social ties. A refined, thoughtful gift signals emotional intelligence. It says you understand the host's world, not just your own. 2. It shows upbringing and class. It proves you were raised in an environment where respect isn't something you say, it's something you do. 3. It positions you as someone who gets it. Social circles at the top are self-reinforcing. Families protect their environments, and the easiest way to be excluded is to appear unaware of unspoken expectations. The right gesture can make you memorable in the best way. The wrong one can end an opportunity before it even begins. But what exactly do they bring? Let's step into their world and look at the items that appear again and again. Gifts that carry cultural weight, tradition, and quiet elegance. The first category, consumables with meaning. Old money loves offerings that don't clutter a home. They know hosts appreciate items that can be used, not stored. A consumable gift tells the host, "I thought of your enjoyment, not my own display." We're talking about a well-selected bottle of wine from a vineyard with sentimental value. Artisan chocolates from a small maker. The family has supported for years gourmet teas from a beloved European brand. A jar of homemade jam using fruit from the family's summer estate. A small tin of specialty biscuits, the kind only found in old gourmet shops. None of this is about price, but origin. Old money adores provenance. A story. A tradition. If someone shows up with a bottle their grandfather always brought to dinner parties in the 1970s, that gesture carries more weight than any luxury label ever could. And here's the nuance. They choose something the host can share, offer, or incorporate into the event. Something that blends into the household instead of taking attention away from it. This is where new money often gets it wrong. New money brings luxury. Old money brings meaning. Heirloom-inspired offerings. The quietest flex of all. Old money never flaunts wealth, but they do honor lineage. So occasionally, their gift reflects a family tradition, not in cost, but in sentiment. For example, a family that spends summers in Maine might arrive with a small tin of wild blueberry preserves, something they've been gifting for 3 generations. A family with European roots may bring a specific candle scent that their grandparents always kept in their Paris apartment. A family tied to a historic estate might gift a tiny bundle of rosemary grown in their own garden. wrapped in simple twine. To an outsider, these items look almost too simple. But to the host, the message is unmistakable. I'm sharing a piece of my world with you. In upper-class society, this is one of the highest forms of respect. Because old money culture isn't about price tags, it's about continuity. The gifts that aren't gifts at all. One of the most fascinating things old money brings to gatherings isn't even physical. They bring utility, a quiet contribution, a gesture that makes the event smoother or more beautiful. This can be a dessert they know the host loves, a rare cheese the host mentioned once in passing, a floral arrangement created specifically to match the table's color palette, a set of handwritten place cards offered discreetly if the host is overwhelmed, a loaf of bread from the family's favorite bakery, in case you needed one more thing for the table. This is emotional intelligence disguised as hospitality. Old money knows hosting is work, and their goal is to lighten that load without ever making the host feel unprepared. It's a kind of social choreography. You give, not to impress, but to support. The signature move, bringing what the host loves most. This is one of the unspoken rules almost no one outside elite circles knows. Old money doesn't bring what they like, they bring what you like. This requires something new. Money is rarely practiced. Paying attention. Old money listens when a host mentions their favorite scent, remembers the brand of coffee they serve, notices the flowers planted outside the home, even tracks small traditions like the host's annual holiday pastries. Then, months or even years later, they arrive at the door with something that feels oddly specific. So specific that the host often says, "How did you know?" That moment is the entire point. In elite circles, being perceptive is a form of currency, and being forgetful is social death. Why flashy gifts are a major faux pas. Here's where new money tries too hard and fails instantly. They bring designer candles, brand name champagne, obvious luxury packaging, loud, flashy wines with status labels, or something excessive that demands attention. The problem? It violates one of the strongest old money beliefs. If your gift overshadows the host, it's not a gift, it's an insult. Old money avoids anything that feels like bragging or like they're trying to repay hospitality with something extravagant. That creates an imbalance, and old money culture is obsessed with balance. Their goal is to blend into the environment, not outshine it. Understated gifts communicate, "I'm thoughtful. I understand context. I respect the hierarchy of your home. And most importantly, I don't need attention." That final message is what separates the polished from the self-conscious. The gift is really a social signal. When old money arrives with a quiet, meaningful offering, they're signaling several things at once. 1. I don't take your hospitality for granted. They acknowledge the effort, cleaning, prepping, arranging, and organizing that goes into hosting. 2. I come from a culture where gratitude is expressed, not assumed. This positions them as someone raised with intention and tradition. 3. I'm socially literate. They know the rules without needing them explained. 4. I'm a contributor, not a burden. In elite circles, the easiest way to be excluded is to create extra work. This is why they bring things that can be used, shared, served, or quietly enjoyed later. Never something that screams, "Display me." Old money never wants a home to feel obligated. They want their presence to feel effortless. Why they never announce the gesture? Maybe the most elegant part of this tradition? They don't draw attention to it. Old money doesn't walk in and say, "Here's a gift for you. I brought this. I hope you like it." No. They simply hand the host the small item with a warm smile and say something along the lines of, "This made me think of you," or "I wasn't sure if you had enough, so I brought this just in case." Soft, subtle, secure. The confidence comes from knowing the gesture itself is enough. Only insecure people need their thoughtfulness validated verbally. This is how, in the world of generational wealth, you communicate class without saying a single word. The specific things old money brings, and the things they avoid at all costs. Category 1. Wines with stories, not labels. If there's one misconception new money always gets wrong, it's this. They think old money brings expensive wine. They don't. Old money brings meaningful wine. A bottle from a small vineyard that the family has visited for decades, a vintage tied to a specific memory, a region they know the host's family loves, or a wine chosen not for prestige but for personality. A discreet Bourgogne, a crisp Sancerre, a soft Bordeaux from a modest chateau, never the flashy label-forward trophy bottles. Old money avoids anything that feels like posturing. The wine is a gesture, not a statement. The unspoken rule? If the bottle screams, you don't have to. Category 2. Seasonal gifts that match the moment. Old money observes the seasons the same way they observe etiquette, quietly, attentively. The time of year shapes what they bring. Winter, spiced teas, dark chocolates from a small Belgian maker, a simple pine or bay leaf wreath, linen napkins in winter colors. Spring, a tiny bouquet of garden flowers wrapped in brown paper, lemon biscuits, herbal soaps made by a local artisan. Summer, Berry preserves a chilled white wine, fresh flowers from their own garden, a small loaf of country bread. Autumn, a tin of English biscuits, honey from a local farm, a candle with a subtle woodsy scent. These items feel natural, effortless, and rooted in the rhythm of the year. Seasonal gifts reflect emotional maturity, an awareness of the host's environment, and what will feel harmonious. Category 3. Handwritten notes, the rarest, most powerful gesture. If you truly want to embody old money elegance, master this one. A handwritten note can be more powerful than the gift itself. Old money often pairs a small offering with a short note on thick stationery, personalized initials, cream-colored cards with subtle embossing. And the message isn't dramatic. It's simple, sincere, and warm. Something like, "Thank you for having us. Looking forward to a lovely evening." Old money understands that handwriting reveals intention. It takes effort. It takes time. It feels personal in a world of screens and shortcuts. And effort is the ultimate luxury. Category 4. Flowers that don't burden the host. Flowers sound simple, but even here, old money has rules. They never bring large bouquets. Why? Because a giant bouquet forces the host to stop what they're doing, find a vase, trim stems, rearrange decor, and scramble to make room. That's not a gift. That's a chore. Instead, they bring a small, already arranged bunch tied with ribbon or wrapped in craft paper, or a single-type bouquet, peonies, garden roses, hydrangeas, that's ready to place in any vase. If they really know the host, they may bring the house's signature flower. This is how old money turns something simple into something refined. What old money never brings. These items are considered tacky, try-hard, or socially tone-deaf in high society. Anything with giant brand logos, oversized luxury candles, gift baskets wrapped in cellophane, expensive jewelry or accessories, overwhelming perfumes, anything personalized with the giver's name, loud wines with status labels, Opus 1, Screaming Eagle, Crystal, anything that suggests showing off rather than showing gratitude. Why? Because the moment the gift becomes about you, the elegance disappears. Old money's rule is simple. Your gift should enhance the host's evening, not your own ego. Why this tradition still matters today? You might assume that with modern life, Uber Eats, digital invites, and busy schedules, this custom would die off. But it hasn't. Among families with heritage, education, and long-standing networks, the tradition is still alive because it isn't about gifts. It's about character. These values never go out of style. And in a world where so many people show up to take, those who arrive to contribute stand out instantly. Presence without contribution is just taking. Contribution without spectacle is class. And once you start living by that rule, you stop looking like someone trying to enter high society. You start looking like someone who already belongs.